Hello everybody, welcome to the channel. My name is JGOD, and in today's video we're going to be doing two different subscriber breakdowns. This is a series I really enjoy on the channel where I go ahead and break down subscriber gameplay, give them tips and tricks on how they can improve at Call of Duty Black Ops 4, and then hopefully you can take some of those different tips and tricks and incorporate them into how you play the game so you can improve at Call of Duty Black Ops 4 as well. If you'd like to be featured in any of my future subscriber breakdowns, make sure you look through the description and read it thoroughly so you can make sure you get chosen for the next video. So for this first video, what we're going to do is look at a subscriber using the Vapor with ELO, Suppressor, Rapid Fire, and High Cal. They are running a 6.6 sensitivity. They have the knife equipped with acoustic sensor, gung ho, and dead silence. Not sure why they're running the knife. They don't use it at all in the gameplay. So personally, I would either swap that out for a launcher, engineer, or scavenger. So I do like the opening rush. They came out, they pre-aimed the little area where the person was going to come through the village. We're able to take them out pretty quick. Come around here, plays aggressively, and gets the second kill. What you're going to see that this is not typically how this player plays throughout the match. And we're going to go ahead and get into that throughout the match. They tend to post up in a specific area and not usually on a head glitch. You can see right here, they're right in the open and have pretty much made almost any gunfight 50-50 at this point. If you're not on a head glitch, you're not positioned in a way that you have an advantage, you're usually going to end up with mixed results. So in this next scenario, they don't do a very good job of strafing at all. Typically in every gunfight, you want to strafe in some way. It's kind of just backing up and standing still. Ends up being a very easy target. Kind of hard to tell what he was killed by because it was a headshot, but more than likely it was that Auger DMR. So very lethal at that range. So for this next sequence, his acoustic sensor goes off. He makes the right adjustments, shoots the guy in the back. So that's a good way to use the acoustic sensor. But coming up right away, he does not have the map awareness or positioning. And this guy ends up running to the right behind him. And he could have actually gone and flanked the guy and got an easy kill. I think the big issue with this is the safe area. I can see that his HUD is pushed out to the corners as far as possible. And if you're not sure exactly what I'm talking about, I covered the safe area along with plenty of other tips in my best settings video. And the quick version of that is you want your safe area as small as possible. Go to the settings, figure out how to change to make it as small as possible. And we'll see another example a little bit later on. But in that specific example, I think having a smaller safe area could have helped. And this next little part's a little hard to watch. You can see how he's aiming down sight and basically walking forward slowly. And once the care package drops, it makes a mad dash to go ahead and try and grab it instead of providing cover for the teammate. And then while that's going on, it looks like the spawns have flipped. So when he goes to go ahead and rotate back, which it looks like the smart move, he ends up in a bad spot where he just gets perfect naded. The guy just came around the corner. He would have been ready to shoot the guy. So that's just a little bit of bad timing from the specialist. And for this particular match, you can see that they're running Crash. And once they get those ammo bags, it's your job to resupply your team. Gets a nice little easy kill here, shoots the guy in the back. And it looks like as soon as he gets the Crash ammo bag, that the spawns have flipped in his favor. All his teammates are going to be behind him. And he should be dropping that ammo bag for his teammates. He's in a position right here where he's going to go ahead and take this guy out. Nice little laser sight, but he's still standing still. You can see he doesn't strafe until it's almost too late and has already won the gunfight. All his teammates are coming around the corner. He should have dropped ammo in some way for them. Everyone would have got bonus points from getting the kills, plus from your teammates picking up the ammo, you would have got those bonus points as well. And as this player pushes through the village again, they end up going into their sweet spot right in the middle of nowhere. And when the guy comes around the corner, it ends up being that 50-50 gunfight, and they lose that gunfight. So instead of being in cover, which you'll see they end up going to cover later, not necessarily immediately, because you're going to see right here, they run to the exact same spot. But at least in this scenario, they do have a little bit more numbers on their side. You can see the teammates are firing in the same direction. They get one hit marker. They're a little bit low ammo. They're just kind of wasting bullets, and they go ahead and rotate to cover the back. You're going to see they go ahead and rotate back where all the enemies are, drop the ammo bag in the middle of the crowd, still in this open area where it's not a good spot. It's the 50-50 gunfight. What you're going to see is they do go ahead and peek the spawn and then rotate to the perfect spot, in my opinion. Right here is the perfect sight line. As they come around, they're not going to be expecting you necessarily right there. And then you can get to cover right away. Ends up getting a couple shots there. Teammate helps to finish the guy off and then gets to cover. You are in a position where you're a little bit in the open because they're right in the doorway, but you're going to dictate when you're going to get shot. Obviously, if the guy comes up, you're going to be able to tag him real quick. They can't react very quickly. Hopefully, you can put him down. Look how long they ADS this barrel. Their teammates are pushed up top. They should have pushed to the barrel and then go ahead and shot enemies as they come up and around. Right here, nothing's happening. They literally stood there forever. Nothing happening. And in my opinion, that's not an effective use of the minimap. Should have pushed up, helped the teammates, and this guy would have never made it around that corner. He ends up taking them both out. So obviously a little bit of gun skill here, but very, very patient. That guy is coming around. looks like the teammates are there right behind him. Ends up aiming, shooting the guy, ends up getting the guy with teammate support. Probably would have lost that gunfight without the teammates' help. And this part ends up setting off a chain reaction, in my opinion. You can see he has the streak. He ends up gunning these guys down, getting all these kills, snapping on. Enemy shooting at his teammate. He takes him out, and now he's on a Bloodthirsty. Got a little easy Bloodthirsty. The entire match, I didn't see this player. For the most part, all I've seen is a very, very passive player that pre-aims everything. Right here, they should have already called in their care package behind them and waited for it. Pre-aim this particular area. That's cool if you already call in your care package. You're waiting on it. And then you just see what happens. Pretty much you can see where the teammates are, and then finally decides to call in that care package after about 20 seconds. It could have already landed, and they would have had access to it. Right here, they do see an enemy is in the spawn. The dog ends up taking them out, so you can see the dog go ahead and attack them. And when he takes a peek right here, he does have teammate support. He could have picked up this tag and 2 other tags, and would have only been like 150 off of his streak. And you can see the acoustic sensor going off, telling him someone's nearby. He goes and jumps out, lands a few shots. Luckily, he outguns the guy. The guy was missing shots, apparently. He's low health. He heals himself, goes and shoots this guy, and then he ends up getting outnumbered in the end. It ends up being kind of a bad scenario. He could have picked up those tags. He was only like 50 off of that streak. Even one tag would have put him over the top. He could have planted the sentry gun right there, and he would have been in a good spot, and he would have been good to go to maybe clear out some of those guys and stay alive just a little bit longer. Or if he would have called in that care package 20 or 30 seconds earlier, it would have already landed. So while rewatching the gameplay over and over, I was just thinking to myself, why isn't he calling this care package? It could have saved him so much. He could have got lucky and got the same sentry gun, called it in, and he would have been able to cover his flank. Right now you can see the enemies behind him. Poor map awareness. This guy was on the map a good 5 to 10 seconds before he even turns around. Luckily the guy didn't go beeline straight to him, or else he would have shot him in the back. So there's a lot of things going on. I think it's just more about map awareness, playing a little bit more aggressive. I think this player plays better when they're actually on the move. They're reacting. When they're just sitting still, they miss a lot of things. It seems like they don't know what to focus on. And I think if this player played just a little bit faster, they would probably get more kills. They'd be on the top of the leaderboard, because obviously the gun skill's there. They line up shots, but the problem is the decision making and being able to focus on the map awareness. And you can see right here, they run directly into the enemy spawn, low health, coming around the corner, in a hurry, not necessarily pre-aiming, because they're getting chased from behind. The ideal scenario is to focus on the guy from behind, then make adjustments based off what the minimap is telling you. So that would be my main recommendation, is to try playing a little bit faster. Of course, in the beginning, you're probably going to die a little bit more. But what you're probably going to notice is that everything else will improve slowly. And you're going to be an overall better player. What we're going to do at this point is we're going to go ahead and transition to the second subscriber gameplay. But if you've enjoyed the video so far, please hit the like button. And if you're brand new to the channel, I typically cover Call of Duty news, in-game updates, best class setups, subscriber breakdowns, as well as other tip and trick videos on how to improve at Call of Duty. If any of that seems interesting to you, make sure you subscribe and turn those notifications on. Let's go ahead and get into the second breakdown. So for the second player, what we're going to do is look at a hardpoint match on Hacienda, and this player does play the hardpoint pretty aggressively, and I have tons of tips from watching this video. And one of the first things we'll actually look at is their class setup. They are running the SOG with reflex, stock, fast mags, quick draw. Their sensitivity is a 4-4. They're running stim shot, scavenger, gung ho, and dead silence. Although I'm a big fan of running the stim shot with pretty much all my SMG class setups, based off watching this player play, I think they could benefit from running the ComSec device or the acoustic sensor. Besides that, I do like the class setup. So for this particular subscriber's breakdown, what we're going to see right here is they end up placing the barbed wire. They're going to go ahead and run out, place the barbed wire. This is the perfect place to place the barbed wire, because that is an entry point. But the biggest problem with this particular hard point is there's a lot of angles, and as long as one teammate's on the objective, you are able to push out and gain a little bit more map control. Based on what I see from this particular player, is they're not necessarily doing the things that are going to allow their team to be more dominant. And if you guys haven't had a chance to check out my how to play hardpoint video, I definitely recommend it, especially since I'm going to touch on a few of those things from that video that pretty much explain how we went 500-0 in hardpoint. Based on the 3 different roles of Slayer, Objective Player, and Anchor, I think this player could be best suited as the Anchor or the Objective Player based off their play style. We're going to go ahead and talk about this dart really quick. You can see he ends up throwing it indoors, not the best move, and he should have held L2 so he could have taken that tight turn and maybe been able to turn through that doorway. You can see right here, it looks like his teammates all spread around the actual hardpoint, and it looks like there's only a few seconds left on the hardpoint. Right here you can see it's about 13, 12, 14 seconds around there. And they should have already started rotating to the next hill. Maybe he doesn't play this map often enough to know where the rotations are. You can see he's literally sitting on the hill with 2 other teammates. Should be making a drastic push if he's an objective player to go ahead and go to the next hardpoint. And if he wants to fill the anchor role, he's got to know where those specific spawns are. And right here, it looks like they got good spawns. He could have positioned on this side of the map to make sure they anchored those spawns. So it made it that much easier for his team to actually capture the objective. You can see how he blocks off that particular entry point into the area. And then he pushes back. The guy ends up coming out. He gets outgunned. That's just a bad scenario where the guy has the high ground. The guy lands the shots. He doesn't. And again, what you're going to see is the timer starts to dwindle down. He's right here. It's going to skip a little bit ahead. I think when he recorded, it dropped a couple seconds. But right here, he's helping his team outgun the objective. And then he ends up behind the shield. And based off the time left on the hill, he should already be thinking about rotating to the next hill or anchoring. And what you're going to see is as soon as he spawns in, instead of going to the next hill, because there's only about 7 seconds on the clock for this particular hill, he runs straight at it, and there's no need to do that. That's basically scrap time. Obviously, there's enemies on it. He ends up getting killed, and that could have potentially ruined the spawns. Luckily, they still have home spawns, and they start rotating. It looks like some of the enemies are already near the objective, so he's got to be wary of that. But he could have already locked this down. He could have already been there about 10 to 15 seconds earlier, had all that hill time that was uncontested. Looks like no one's rotating early, and that's his enemies included. Did a great job of clearing the hill and uses this dart effectively where he takes out 2 of those guys. Looks like the teammate cleared the 3rd. And right here he runs back outside when it says enemy hellstorm inbound. Literally throws his care package while getting hellstormed. Not a very smart move. You can see there's about 30 seconds left on the clock, about 20 seconds now. Calls that in. He's waiting for his care package. Probably not the best move. Ideally you want to drop that care package in the spawn. Wait for it. I probably wouldn't call care packages in on a hardpoint in general. But at the end of the day, if you're going to use them, I'd probably use them when you know you're anchoring those spawns. So since he's already called in that care package, now he's committed to this particular area, waits it out, ends up getting killed. That hill is already starting to rotate, and he ends up running back towards that direction because he called in a care package. No one is sitting on the middle hill. There's at least 10 to 15 seconds on every hill where it's pretty much left vacant. And now that he's died, you can see he's spawned out. He actually has a spawn flip. Has the little sentry gun. I probably would not use it on this hill. And I think this little scenario is an example of where the acoustic sensor might have been helpful. I don't think the stim shot has been helpful in any way in this particular match. And I don't know if it's necessarily the playstyle or just the scenarios that are popping up. But based off what I've seen, I think the acoustic sensor would have been more helpful than what is going on. He would have known exactly that the guy was behind him and at least had an opportunity to make a play. Right here you can see there's only a little bit of time left on the hill. Right at that 15-second mark as he pushes the hill. Teammates on it. He pushes aggressively for the hill. Not really a need to do that. And he's got to start thinking rotate to next hill. There's only about 10 seconds. You can see that the little shock drone comes through. He's just sitting here. No reason to sit here. He's got to rotate to the next hill. And you're going to see where the spawns end up positioning him. They got great spawns. Luckily, maybe someone on his team was anchoring. I don't think he was. Perfect placement of the sentry gun. That's ideally where I would have placed it. And now he has that little barbed wire set up. So pretty much someone's only coming from behind you or coming from the water. You got to pay close attention. You're going to see how he reacts. In my opinion, I think he could have maybe noticed this a little bit earlier and reacted. I don't know if he was just kind of daydreaming, because even when he gets shot, he's very slow to react. You're going to watch. He's going to take a little bit of damage on the right side. The guy's going to run up on the right side as he's strafing back. He gets hit and just kind of steps out into the guy's gunfire. Instead of sticking to that wall, killing himself, whatever he could do. Right here you can see that the teammates are still holding it pretty aggressively. That sentry gun is absolutely going off. It's keeping people away from the objective. Right here, the spawns need to start getting rotated to the next hill. And yes, I do understand that they're up by 100 points, but by having the right spawns and positioning early, you put yourself in a defensive position, and that forces enemies out of position. You're going to see when he rotates always to the hard point, they end up doing a pretty good job of taking it, but he usually takes a death or two. And the rotations early and the spawns early don't necessarily only help you, it helps your teammates as well, because you have strength in numbers. Odds are you're going to be a little bit more dominant. You're going to be able to team shoot and chain those streaks together a little bit more effectively. There goes that death I was talking about. And now they do have the spawns, which is a nice thing. Now their teammates can push and actually collapse this particular hill. Go ahead and rotate. He's landing the shots. That's a pretty long shot to hit with the SMG. He was using a meta gun like one of the rifles or maybe the Titan. he'd probably be able to dominate a little bit more. So this shows me that this player is a little bit above average when it comes to gun skill and how they position. See right here, they use team shooting, take the guy out. He would have got the guy in the back, his teammate takes him out on the other side, and now they're positioned in a good spot. But all this time, most of the hill is already dissipated and it's already starting to disappear. Hill is already starting to rotate. They should have already moved on to the next hill. They could have easily had another 20-30 seconds on that previous hill. So overall, I don't think there's a ton for this player to work on. It seems like they have above average gun skill. They are using an SMG and it makes it a little bit trickier at those long range engagements. They do hold the hill. They do take the hill pretty aggressively, so that's all good. But I think if they're going to play hardpoint very often, they got to be that player that rotates early or anchors for the team. And I think that's a great place to wrap up the video. If you enjoyed the video in any way or any of the tips, please hit that like button. If you're brand new to the channel, make sure you subscribe and turn those notifications on by ringing that bell. I appreciate all the support on the channel. Thank you for watching. As always, have a great day.